Good afternoon. Just occurred to me that I'm in between a rock and a hard place. After great entertainment and everybody's looking at their program, they know that I'm between great entertainment and President and Mrs. Carter. So I'll be brief, but I did want to make some very heartfelt comments or observations this afternoon. But before I begin, I'd like to greet and thank you on the behalf of the millions of lives that this great institution or organization has transformed. And one of my favorite devotionals, Emmett Fox, beautifully describes the impact that this organization has had on the lives of many as no less than a demonstration of God Himself, the mighty God, and truly the mystic power that transforms, transfigures, is God Himself, always present with you and always available. So, as many of you probably already know, I've personally witnessed and benefited from this mighty and mystic power of God through Habitat. This is an evident truth that unfolds more and more as I tell my story each time. Therefore, I would like to briefly tell my story and also to connect my story to a very fascinating truth about President and Mrs. Carter. I was born one of 5 children to a mother who had her first child at the age of 13. My earliest memory as a child is one spring afternoon, I was very stubbornly trying to throw a bird's feather on top of the roof of our house. I vividly remember this day because it was the first time I became conscious or aware, rather, that our house lacked indoor plumbing and that it rested on brick piers that were not wrapped by a foundation. In a very real sense, our house was never completed. No indoor plumbing, no running water, no foundation. In the summers, it was hot as outside, and in the winters, we piled in the same bed to stay warm. So slowly, as you would imagine, I began to lose the childlike hope, ambition, and joy that children are born with. I failed the first grade, I had serious behavior problems in school, and people whispered that there's no way that he would amount to much in life. Nothing good would ever come out of that house. As if I had not had enough, my family then moved to one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Charlotte, North Carolina. As a kid, I experienced constant fear, anxiety, and nightmares induced by unforgettable echoes of gunshots fired late into the night, or the horror of seeing an innocent man beaten until lifeless one summer evening. I once read that my neighborhood was simply called the Hole. The street we lived on and the other one just across from it were the sites of 21 murders over a 5-year period. And my oldest sister witnessed firsthand one of those tragedies up close as she innocently walked home from the corner store one day. As you would imagine, there was very little hope for me. However, one day I came home and saw a very unique expression on my mom's face. It was an expression of joy, hope, and love I had never seen. She quickly told us that she had been approved for a Habitat house. So that day, without a doubt, in my mind, marked a new beginning for my family and me. The year we moved into our house in Optimus Park, which is in Charlotte, North Carolina, we have a broad audience here, my grades dramatically improved, partly because I had my own room for the first time. Just as I stubbornly tried to throw a feather on top of our house or to the heavens early as a kid, I now had quiet moments to stubbornly think about and to do the seemingly impossible. And many would say the odds I've overcome are just that, impossible. How does a struggling kid who lived in a house with no indoor plumbing become board chair of Habitat Charlotte? But you know, I've come to the conclusion that our God is a big God and works in ways that we sometimes do not completely understand. In fact, during the process of preparing for today, I was again humbled by the deep realization that President Carter and his lovely wife immensely shaped and impacted my destiny through the tremendous work they completed and set forth during the Carter Project within Optimus Park, or the Miracle on 19th Street, as it was appropriately called. You know, it's tough to verbalize those words. I've practiced this over and over again, but I get choked up every time, you know, thinking about it and saying it, because it truly did have such an impact on my destiny. But the reality is that as I mentioned, I may not have moved into that Habitat house in Optimus Park if not for the miraculous work done during the Carter Project. That project, which included, I'm told, live news coverage, Bob Hope and Tom T. Hall as volunteers, and fused Habitat Charlotte with enthusiasm, vision, and needed capital to build in Optimus Park years after the 14 Carter Project homes were completed. God truly does work in mysterious ways. Therefore, President and Mrs. Carter, I would like to sincerely thank you for your unwavering commitment to ensure that a guy like me would someday overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. And if you ever wandered deep into the night, thank you. President and Mrs. Carter, if you ever wandered deep into the night, what other miracles occurred in Optimus Park as a result of your many prayers and the mountains you personally moved, I am proud to report the following. The number of first-generation college graduates who lived in the Habitat houses in Optimus Park is one of the many miracles you would be very proud of. Several kids attended colleges and university. Against my will, I'll mention Chapel Hill, the University of Chapel Hill first. Davidson College, Duke University, Wake Forest University, Montreat College, and others. Several kids from Optimus Park also decided to continue to proudly and bravely serve our country. Many of us Thank you. Many of us started families and are active in the community as board members, as mentors. We are truly a shining example of the power and potential of people who have a decent place to call home. In other words, many of the Habitat kids and families from Optimus Park have absolutely defied logic. So the truth I stumbled upon is the fact that if not for your unconditional love, unmatched dedication, and concern for all of humanity, my life in particular would not be the same. And for all these reasons and more, I would like to personally thank you, Mr. President, and Mrs. Carter, for the many miracles on 19th Street.